Good afternoon, morning, welcome back to T3. In today's show, we have some really awesome upgrades from Uncle Antec. I've put it all together, it's happening. Let me show you. So, as I said, we have some awesome new goodies and upgrades. Thank you so much, Uncle Antec. If you guys have noticed, our sign is actually off for upgrades of its own as well, so that will be coming hopefully next week. And it's most importantly, our test bench has finally arrived. And this is going to allow us to do a couple of things that we couldn't do before. One of those chiefly being testing cooling without the interference of a case. So it's going to be all open air, so it'll only be the merits of the cooler without any interference of the environment that it's in, which I'm really happy about. We'll be able to test M.2 NVMEs on here, on Intel versus AMD. Spoiler alert, this is an Intel platform. It's a Z390 with a 9600KF, which I've already overclocked and put all the settings in the BIOS, and it's running a dream at 4.8 gigahertz all-core with 3200 megahertz on the memory CL16 timings. The Clev kit has an XMP profile, which I am using, and it's working phenomenally well. The performance scores went from about 900 to over 1100 on Cinebench with overclock, and most importantly, it's producing quite a lot of heat. This is really good for testing coolers. So once again, we have the Hyper 212 over here. This is pretty much the bread and butter cooler. Everybody's kind of run into this at some point in their career, and it's just so solidly stable, to the point that I've got a 6-core processor running at 4.8 gigahertz all-core and hitting about 74 degrees average underneath this cooler over here. So what we're going to now do with our little test bench is set up an Antec 240mm RGB looking water cooler and then compare it to the Hyper 212. This is going to be our baseline for cooling testing. Now, of course, you're comparing water cooling to this. We're looking at it from a price versus performance. So if the water cooling kit, is twice the price, it should provide twice the cooling performance. Not so. That's going to be our metric that we run with. I don't think it's ever going to be realistic that a water cooler produces twice the cooling of even an air cooler like this, just because of surface area limitations, contact with the chip, and that kind of stuff. But this is going to be our chief testing platform for that. And then when we do GPU reviews, we will have the Ryzen 2700X versus the 9600KF. So we'll be able to see what the FPS is like on Intel versus AMD. But without further ado, let me install a water cooling kit and do our first test. Okay, so here's the cooler we're going to be working with today. The Antec Neptune 240. Sorry, I've got the Mercury 240, which was the first kit they brought back to the market. Those actually have 5-year warranty on it. This has got a 3-year warranty on it though. Much slimmer pump design. That's the first thing I noticed. The Mercury pump was like super dip. Probably not a bad thing. It probably means that it's got bigger parts in it. Who knows? I think this is smaller and more efficient. If I go anything by the Corsair H100, which is kind of for me the benchmark of 240mm coolers, this is very similarly set up. RGB fans, comes with a fan controller inside the box, so if you don't have RGB on your board, you should be able to control it from there. But without further ado, let's open it up, have a look. Get it out of here. Okay, so inside the box, we have one polystyrene, one information guide. This will probably come in handy, so I'm not going to get rid of that. 2 of fans, very nice looking, beefy, rubberized mounts on there as well, which is going to be very nice, noise free when you do install it into a PC computer. We have all the back plates and screws and attachment fittings. We have, what is this? I'm actually going to need to open this to see what, I think this is the fan controller. Yes, this is the fan controller. Okay, cool. So LED speed mode, all of that kind of stuff is on the fan controller itself, so that is going to be quite useful. ARGB, addressable RGB headers going in there. Then this will probably, this will then spit out from one of the ends into the motherboard, so you will be able to control your addressable set directly from there. That's nice, with the appropriate cabling over here, and even an attachment for Gigabyte, because Aorus did use their own proprietary RGB header, so they do have the adapter for that, and then the normal addressable adapter header, which will connect into the device, so you can control it all through there, one port, which is very nice. One of the best things about the addressable. And then the cooler itself over here. It is quite nicely finished, I must say. Just having a brief look at it, both sides have a beautiful looking Antec polished plate on there, polished plate on top. The pump head, much more compact than it was before. I think this is going to look really nice when it's installed on the test bench. So I think without further ado, let's strap it up and see what it does. Alrighty, so we have it installed now, much better than their previous versions. We've got the Mercury, and this is significantly improved. The bracket, how it attaches to the motherboard, is just 10 times better. The whole install was like 20 minutes and we were done. Luckily, we didn't have to fasten it into any case equipment, so that did speed up the process quite a lot. It looks absolutely fantastic. I mean, look at the pump head. It's like super bright. One thing I did notice though was the addressable header is attached to the fan controller, so you'll have to split that and be able to reach it basically both on, if they're both on the same side of the motherboard, then that's going to be ideal for this cooler setup. And we've set it to the default RGB setting. We've got the fans controlled now by the system, idling at a whole 31 with 20% fan, and actually giving us slightly better clock already than I saw on the air cooler. It was getting 4796, kind of hovering in that range to just over 480, but now we're at 4839. So it is giving a little bit better off the boot, just off the back foot. But let's see if it can sustain that. So we're going to run ADA 64. We're going to give it the good 10-minute stress test to completely heat soak it, and then come back with those results.
The following Thursday.
Alrighty, so we went for an overkill setup. We've done a full 20-minute test over here, and the results are staggeringly good, I must say. The peaks here on the core 3 of the CPU are hitting the 60s, and as I've stopped that, it's already dropped back down. And the highest temp recorded over here, if we go to our stats, is going to be 64 on core 3. So it's mid 60s, low 60s. That is incredible at 4. Like we say, we're doing a little bit better today. We had 4839, so it's giving a little bit extra clock in it today as well. Our voltages, if I have a look here, 1.25 is what I've set it to be the max voltage. So it's just peaking a little bit over that. So it really was trying to draw as much as humanly possible, because it obviously realized that there was more cooling headroom. And that is actually really good result for this CPU killer. And guys, the fans, even when we were here and it was on 100% load, you couldn't hear them. And that's standing right next to the thing. So if they're sitting in a case with enough airflow and there's a push-pull setup on this radiator, I have absolutely no doubt that this is going to be a steal at 129 now. Now guys, if you are interested in this product, like I said, it is 1,300 Rand now available at EveTech. There's a lot more information on the page. So if you guys are looking for anything extra that we haven't covered or mentioned in this review today, it will be available for you right on their site. So thank you all so much for watching. We do hope to see you in the next one. Until then, have a good day.